In a time when thinking and questioning had withered in both university and in the modern world of which it is an integral part, Heidegger made it his goal to refound the university as a site for radical questioning. Heidegger committed himself to making the university a site for the transformation of human existence, a source of creativity, in which thinking and philosophy would overcome the nihilism that afflicted Germany. He lamented at the stagnation of the university, and he passionately called for a renewal of thinking and radical questioning. For Heidegger, the activity of philosophizing was inseparable from the act of radical questioning. Thus, revolutionizing the university entailed making philosophical research a questioning of one's own life. For Heidegger, a crisis was needed to disrupt the stagnation of modern science and to radically rework its basic concepts. Such a crisis could provoke a fundamental questioning by shattering accepted truths. The site on which such a crisis could be provoked, the site on which such philosophizing would then take place, was the university. Heidegger linked the renewal of the university to genuine revolutionizing of spirit. In place of the abstractness of academic philosophy, he insisted that research must be rooted in the very being of existence. As such, philosophy must become the science of being, and the site for such an inquiry was the university. Heidegger explicitly tied the transformation of university to science, and in turn, life. This combination of science and being had been severed by modernity, but the university was the site on which this combination would occur. Everyday life is not transparent, however, and it must instead be subjected to a continuous process of questioning. This is the task of scientific research for Heidegger. Thus, while modern academic philosophy had become stagnant and dogmatic, he insisted that the university, if renewed, could become the site on which the fundamental questioning of scientific truths could occur. The modern crisis of science and its expression in the fragmentation of the university into numerous separate disciplines made it impossible, however, to question the fundamental possibilities of convention. In other words, science had lost its grounding in everyday nothingness, or Dasein, as Heidegger phrased it. Until the university was revolutionized, and the fragmentation due to the academic division of labor was overcome, the activity of radical questioning and philosophizing could not take place. For Heidegger, the university must become a source of this new science of life. In his address, The Self-Assertion of the German University, Heidegger insisted that the regeneration of the West and the necessary transformation of German Dasein required a renewal of science and a complete reorganization of the university. The radical nature of Heidegger's project lay in his insistence that the university had its basis in science or philosophy, understood as the questioning of who or what we are, the questioning of Dasein. According to the new rector, one of the things necessary for the university to actualize the essence of this science was to regain the properties of the original Greek essence of science, of our existence. Such a science that deeply arouses and most profoundly shakes the people's existence was very different from that of modern science. This entailed overcoming the division between theory and practice, as well as the division of mental and manual labor that characterizes modern times. However, science or philosophy, as Heidegger believed it, was subordinate to the concrete sciences and to their respective faculties or academic departments. Additionally, the natural sciences had become subordinate to the professors and to the professionals' training in modern universities. Moreover, the rigid hierarchy with the relationship of the all-knowing teacher and the passive student destroyed any basis for science as Heidegger understood it, with its universal questioning. For Heidegger, if philosophy was to be possible at the university, the institutions of higher learning would first have to be completely transformed so that science or philosophy could be at home in the university. Moreover, the modern concept of the university could no longer serve as a model for its renewal, with its fragmentation of the sciences, the extreme academic division of labor, and the tendency for the university to be transformed into a professional school. Though many of his actions seemed to facilitate Nazi authority over the institution, certain of his key ideas were conceived in terms of transforming the university into a site for radical questioning. First, Heidegger sought to overcome the academic division of labor and the fragmentation of knowledge in the separate faculties by challenging their privileges and autonomy and by weakening their control. Heidegger believed he could accomplish this by appointing the deans directly and by opening up the institution itself to the whole of the academic community, teachers and students alike. Secondly, Heidegger hoped to create a genuine community of teachers and students living and working together, which would destroy the hierarchical structure of the university. Aimed at breaking down the inherited and inflexible hierarchies, Heidegger sought to open the university to the portion of the population generally excluded, in particular the working class and the unemployed. but not to subject them to vocational training, instead to include them in the life of a transformed university. However, both of these initiatives within Hitler's radical state quickened the pace of ideological mobilization of the masses. While Heidegger insisted on the need for radical questioning of all truths as the only way to counter life's tendency to settle into acquired patterns of thought and behavior, he also followed the Nazi belief of commitment to final truth as the basis for the needed transformation of German life. In other words, how could a commitment to a fundamental questioning be reconciled with support for a movement which sought to eliminate all questioning and do away with the need to question racial truth? As rector of Freiburg University, a revolutionary transformation of the university remained his objective, but he saw the Nationalist Socialist Revolution as becoming a complete re-education of men and of students and of young teachers of tomorrow. Many who had previously responded to his call for renewal were then removed from the same university with the rise of National Socialism. The link between science and life remained central to Heidegger's project, but the idea of Dasein had become the Dasein of a certain people.